Hello everybody, welcome back to the Fit Nerd channel. I'm the Fit Nerd, and today I am going to be reviewing John Wick Chapter 2. And what did I think about this movie? I thought it was pretty awesome. Did I like it as much as the first one? I don't know, I have to watch it a few more times, but I did heavily enjoy it. I think the only thing I could say against it is that the first one was a surprise for just about everybody, that it was as good as it was. So this one not being a surprise is kind of like a negative, but that's not really the film's fault. It's a great movie, so you can't really hold that against it. But let's talk about the movie on its own merits. John Wick is a direct sequel to the first John Wick, obviously. It takes place immediately after the first one leaves off. He gets his car back, and then someone screws him over, and he has to get revenge on that person. And then hijinks ensue. And you know what? It's really, really well done. It's longer than the first one. There's little bit more downtime, but you know what? I actually really enjoyed that downtime. It was more fast paced than I was expecting. There's a lot more humor, and the guy who plays the Tick in the new rebooted Tick series has a little bit of a cameo as the gun dealer to John Wick, and he was pretty funny too. I loved just about every single frame of this film. Almost everything was entertaining. There wasn't a dry moment in the film. John Wick is obviously the one who carries the movie the most, but oddly enough, everyone in this movie is a fantastic actor. They are putting their A game into just what's seemingly just a action movie, and you have to give everyone great credit for what they are doing, and I loved every second of it. All the side characters, all like the people who even don't even talk are awesome. Obviously, Keanu Reeves steals the show as John Wick in his best role since Neo. Even though I think John Wick is better than Neo, I think he's a lot cooler, a lot more slick, a lot more fun, a lot more entertaining. And you can tell that Keanu Reeves loves doing this role. Well, it appears as he does. And I love every second that he's on screen. If John Wick's on screen, let me tell you what, it is going to be a good time. And even Lawrence Fishburne, he's not in the movie for as long as I think people were expecting, but his part is fun, it's funny. He's a great character, and I hope he's in the third one, because apparently they are doing a third one. Everything in this movie, all the actors, all the characters are fun, and that's one thing you can't give a lot of movies, is that even side characters sometimes aren't that entertaining, but even the people John fights with, they seem like they're fun characters to be around. Anyways, let's go on to the action. The action in this film is phenomenal. I think the fight scenes, I mean, hand to hand wise, are way more choreographed better than the original one. I mean, I did enjoy the fight scenes in the first one a lot, but this one, the hand to hand combat, just seemed like they knew more what they were doing, how to handle it better, and that improved it by way more than I think people were expecting. But people watch this movie for the shootouts, and how do the shootouts hold up? They hold up pretty well, even though there are some weird edits. Like, there's not a bunch of jump cut edits like in the Marvel movies or things like that. It's just that there are some scenes where you'll see John Wick shooting in the background. Like, he'll turn around and shoot somebody, but you won't see someone drop, and that's just kind of odd. That kind of took me aback a bit. But it was okay. I didn't really get distracted by it too much. It just only happened a couple times, and when it did happen, it did kind of take me out of it. I'm not going to spoil any of the action scenes, but what I did like about some of the fights is that they do incorporate some humor into it, like dark comedy wise, and I love me some good dark comedy. The violence is insanely brutal. There are some scenes that actually made me kind of cringe, as well as the people that I went to the theater with, and it was cool. I like seeing the bone breaking hits, the blood splattering gunshots, the knives, the punches, the kicks, everything. All the fight scenes in this film were well choreographed, and they felt earned. All the fight scenes felt earned in this film. Like I said, there's a little bit of a build up to the fights, but when they do happen, they feel earned, and it's great. I loved the fights in this film. The shootouts, everything was fun. It was just a fun film to watch, and that's one thing that also the first one had. I don't know why, but these films feel like what a modern day Die Hard film would be, because when John Wick gets hurt, he gets hurt. You see him get hurt, and he wears that injury for a while. It's not like the newer Die Hard films. It's more like the original ones where John McClane, when he would get hurt, you'd feel him get hurt, and he would stay hurt throughout the entire movie. And I have to give them movie props that they're going to add to that. And you know what? Good on them. I want to see more of this type of action film. I watched a movie recently called No Tears for the Dead, and I compare that to a John Woo movie. But this one, I honestly feel like this would be a movie that John Woo would make today with just the action choreography in itself. So if John Woo would see this, John Woo, I believe he would be proud. On to the negatives of this film. Now, are there negatives in this film? A little bit. I didn't like the ending No spoilers, but it felt kind of sequel baity. Aside from that, though, there wasn't really much I can complain about aside from, like I said, the weird edits with some of the fights when he shoots in the back and you don't see like who he's shooting. It just kind of him turning around and shooting somebody. But aside from that, there's really not much to complain about. You just have to know what you're getting into when you go into this film. You're getting a fun, action-packed thrill ride in from start to finish. It is entertaining. The action starts before the opening credits even hit, and that was awesome. I loved that. The movie's not afraid to let you know from the very beginning that this is a pure, raw action film. There's twice as much action in this film as there was in the first one. Whether or not the body count's on point as the first one, I'm not sure. Some people said there's more. Some people said it's exact amount. But I wasn't keeping count. I was just having fun while I was watching. But other things I complained about was this isn't even the movie's fault, but the trailers they were playing before the movie were kind of lame. Aside from the King Kong trailer and the Power Rangers trailer and obviously the Logan trailer, all the trailers they were playing before the film were kind of weak. But like I said, that's not the movie's fault, so I'm not going to hold that against the film. I just thought that was something fun to complain about because, like I said, there's not a lot in this film to complain about aside from my own personal preferences that I just didn't like the sequel bait-esque ending. But everything else in this film was just a lot of fun. It just knew what it had to do. It knew what it wanted to be. It cared about its action. It cared about its characters. All the actors in this film looked like they were caring about what is just basically an action film, a straight up action film. There's no moral dilemmas here that's not pushing a political agenda. It's just saying, you bought your ticket, let's have some fun, go have fun, and just enjoy yourself because sometimes that's just what a movie needs. And I am so happy that that this movie just turned out to be the movie that just gave us a good time throughout the entire movie. The first one did that too, but this one knew that it had to keep that and it knew it had to amplify a bit. Now, some people don't like that how sequels will sometimes just try and be bigger than the first one. And here, you know what? I'm going to let it slide because it kind of works. No, I don't. I get what people say when they say that. You don't always have to, bigger doesn't always mean better. But here, bigger just means more fun with John Wick because when you see the title of John Wick, you know you're getting into pure raw action, and every scene of this film is just mostly just pure raw action. Once the action starts in the second half, it doesn't stop. There are some stop moments, but then it just picks up not too long after, and I guarantee if you loved the first one, you're going to love this one because it's just more John Wick, and some people might see that as a negative, but I don't because John Wick is just fun throughout, and I hope they make the third one because even though I didn't like the ending, they are implying that something big is going to happen. And people who loved the first one are going to love this one. There's more John Wick, there's more blood, there's more shooting, there's more everything. Everything you loved about the first one, you're going to love in the second one, even twice as much because there's twice as much in it. It's a bullet ballet, like I said, it's a John Wick movie made today. Every scene has a gunshot in it. Well, not every scene, but every scene that does have a gunshot in it is a scene that you want to see. You want to give this guy a gun. You don't want to anger John Wick. You want to just give him a gun and let him do what he does best. And what he does best is entertain the audience because that's what you get is pure, raw, unadulterated entertainment. And you know what? I am happy I saw this movie opening day. I definitely want to see it again. I hope they make a third one. And they said they want to make a TV series about it. And you know what? If they do, I'll be the first one to tune in because I love John Wick. I love the first movie. I adored the first movie. You have no idea how many times I've seen this movie. And now the second one's out. I'm probably going to watch it twice as much as I did the first film. It's a little bit longer, so maybe not because, time constraints and things like that. But John Wick Chapter 2 earns that additional runtime because the additional stuff they added to the movie was fun. The action scenes they added in, the people, the little slow times they added in, those were even entertaining. And these people know what they're doing. The directors, the actors, everyone in this film knows what they're doing. They're having a lot of fun with it, and I want to see more John Wick. I hope this movie doesn't just make back its money. I hope it makes double its money so that way, with what they're implying with the third one, can be just as fantastic as I think it should be. I hope it doesn't have the third film curse where people argue that the third film in the trilogy is always the worst one, even though that's not always true. I thought Return of the Jedi was pretty banging, and Return of the King was awesome as well. But I want John Wick Chapter 3 to be fantastic. So people, don't see 50 Shades Darker. See the Lego Batman movie because the Lego Batman movie looks pretty spectacular also. But also see John Wick. Get your friends, get your family together because John Wick is pure, raw entertainment throughout. And you deserve to see it And you know what? Keanu Reeves deserves a third go as John Wick. Peace.